In this lesson, we're going to look at how to draw and name carboxylic acids. So carboxylic acids are the functional group that has what is called a carboxyl group that is bonded to a carbon atom. So a carboxyl group sounds similar to carbonyl, which we looked at ketones and aldehydes, and that was a double bond O. And so the carboxyl group also has a double bond O and then also a hydroxide group, so similar to the alcohols that we had. So our carboxylic acid is a combination of those two. Now, because there are two bonds to the oxygen and then one to this oxygen, the carbon only has one other bond that it can make. And so this is always going to be at the end of a compound. So when we're naming or drawing carboxylic acids, we are, as before, we are always going to identify the root or the longest chain that has the carboxyl group in it. So once again, this carboxyl group needs to be at the end of a chain because this carbon only has one bond free to attach to something. And we're always going to do the lowest numbering. So we're always going to make the assumption that this carbon is carbon number 1. So we have lowest numbering for that, except that since it's always off the first carbon, so it has to be off an end carbon, and if we make it the lowest numbering, then that would be the first as opposed to the last carbon. And because we're automatically assuming that, then we don't have to bother naming that. So we just know that when we have a carboxylic acid, that the carbon, the double bond O, and the OH are on our carbon number 1. So then we are going to change the ending to oic acid, and we are going to add in any alkyl or halo side groups, and we will name and number those. So here we have a chain. So here is my carboxylic acid, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the most number of carbons as I move along in a straight chain. And then there's a methyl group attached as well. So there's my longest chain. There is the functional group, the carboxyl group, and then there is a methyl. So that carbon that has the carboxyl group attached to it is going to be the beginning as opposed to the ending. So that's where our numbering starts. So we've got carbon 1 over here. So I can see that I have off the third carbon, I have a methyl group, and then pentane is 5 carbons, and then we're going to change the ending to oic acid. So this is a 3-methyl pentanoic acid.